One day, when Pooh Bear had nothing else to do, he thought he would do something, so he decided to go round to Piglet's house to see Piglet. It was still snowing as he stomped over the white forest track, and he expected to find Piglet warming his toes by his fire. But to his surprise, the door was wide open, and the more Pooh looked inside, the more Piglet wasn't there. "He's out," said Pooh. "That's what it is. He's not in. I shall have to go a fast-thinking walk by myself. Bother." But just to make quite sure, Pooh decided to knock very loudly, and while he waited for Piglet not to answer, he jumped up and down to keep warm, and a hum came to his head, which seemed to him a good hum, such that is hummed hopefully to others. "The more it snows, tiddly-pom, the more it goes, tiddly-pom. The more it goes, tiddly-pom, on snowing. And nobody knows, tiddly-pom, how cold my toes, tiddly-pom. How cold my toes, tiddly-pom, are growing." "So what I'll do," said Pooh, "is I'll do this. I'll just go home and check what the time is, and maybe I'll put a muffler around my neck, and then I'll go and see Eeyore and sing it to him." Pooh was so busy with the song that he was getting ready for Eeyore, that when he went home to find Piglet sitting in his best armchair, he could only stand there wondering whose house he was in. "I thought you were out," said Pooh. "No," said Piglet. "It's you who are out, Pooh." "Ah, so it was," said Pooh. "I knew one of us was." Pooh looked at the clock, which had stopped at 5 minutes to 11 some weeks ago. "Nearly 11 o'clock," said Pooh, happily. "You're just in time for a little smackerel of something. I'll go look in the cupboard, and then we will go and sing my song to Eeyore." "Which song?" said Piglet. "The one we're going to sing to Eeyore," explained Pooh. The clock was still saying 5 minutes to 11 when they left some 30 minutes later. The wind had died down at this point, and the snow, tired of chasing itself round in circles, fluttered down gently to find a place to rest. And sometimes that place was Pooh's nose, and sometimes it wasn't. And in no time at all, Piglet was wearing a white muffler round his neck, and feeling more snowy behind the ears than he had ever felt before. Pooh," said Piglet, rather timidly, for he didn't want Pooh to think he was giving in. "I was just thinking, what if we went home and practiced your song, and then sang it to Eeyore tomorrow, or the next day when we happen to see him?" "That's a very good idea," said Pooh. "We'll practice it now as we go along, but it's no good going home to sing it, because it's a special kind of song that has to be sung in the snow. Oh, you'll see when you listen, because it begins like this. The more it snows, tiddly-pom." "Tiddly what?" "Pom," said Pooh. "I put it in there to make it sound more hummy. The more it goes, tiddly-pom." Didn't you say snows?" Yes, but that was before." "Before the tiddly-pom?" "Yes, the first one." Pooh was quite muddled now, so he decided to sing it over again. "The more it snows, tiddly-pom, the more it goes, tiddly-pom. The more it goes, tiddly-pom, on snowing. And nobody knows, tiddly-pom, how cold my toes, tiddly-pom, how cold my toes, tiddly-pom, are growing." And he sang it like that, which is much the best way of singing it. And while he waited for Piglet to say, out of all the outdoor songs for snowy weather he'd ever heard, this was the best. And after a little bit of thought, Piglet said rather solemnly, "It's not so much the toes as it is the ears." They were getting to Eeyore's gloomy place by now, which was where he lived, and Piglet's ears were still very snowy, and he was getting rather tired of it. So they moved over to a little pine wood and stopped just by the gate that led into it. And to keep themselves warm, they sung Pooh's song for snowy weather right through 6 times. Piglet doing the tiddly-poms, and Pooh doing the rest of it. and both of them thumping on the top of a gate with pieces of stick at the proper places. And in no time at all they were feeling much warmer and were able to talk again. "I've been thinking," said Pooh, "and what I've been thinking of is this. I've been thinking about Eeyore." "What about Eeyore?" "Well," said Pooh, "poor Eeyore has nowhere to live." "Nor he has," said Piglet. "You have a house, Piglet, and I have a house, and they're both very good houses. And Christopher Robin has a house, and Owl and Rabbit and Kanga have houses, and even Rabbit's friends and relations have houses or something. But poor Eeyore has nothing, so what I've been thinking of is this. Let's build Eeyore a house." "That," said Piglet, "is a grand idea." "Where shall we build it?" "Well, we'll build it right here," said Pooh, "because this is where I thought of it, and we'll call this place Pooh Corner, and we'll build an Eeyore house out of sticks at Pooh Corner for Eeyore." "There was a heap of sticks on the other side of the wood," said Piglet. "I saw them, lots and lots, all piled up." "Thank you, Piglet. What you have said will be of great help to us, and because of that, I could call this place Pooh and Piglet Corner, if Pooh Corner didn't sound better, which it does, being smaller and more like a corner." And so they got down off the gate and went around to the other side of the woods to where the sticks were. Christopher Robin had spent the morning indoors going to Africa and back, and he'd just got off the boat and was wondering what the weather was like outside when who should come knocking but Eeyore. "Hello, Eeyore," he said cheerfully. "How are you?" "It's snowing still," said Eeyore rather gloomily. "So it is," said Christopher Robin. "And freezing," said Eeyore. "Is it? However," said Eeyore, brightening up a little bit, "we haven't had an earthquake lately." "Oh, what's the matter, Eeyore?" "Nothing, Christopher Robin, nothing important. I suppose you haven't seen a house anywhere, have you?" "What sort of a house?" "Just a house." "Who lives there?" "I do. At least I thought I did, but I suppose I don't. Then again, I guess we can't all have houses." "Oh, Eeyore, but I didn't know." "I don't know how it is, Christopher Robin, but what with all this snow, not to mention icicles and such like, it isn't so hot in my field at 3 o'clock in the morning as some people think it is. It isn't close, not to be as uncomfortable. It isn't stuffy. In fact, Christopher Robin, quite between ourselves, and don't tell anybody, it's cold." "Oh, Eeyore," said Christopher Robin, "and I said to myself the others will be sorry if I'm getting myself all cold. They haven't got brains, any of them, only grey fluff that's blown in by mistake." "Oh, but if it keeps on snowing for another 6 weeks or so, one of them will begin to say to himself, 'Eeyore can't be too very hot at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it will get about, and they'll be sorry.'" "Oh, Eeyore," said Christopher Robin, feeling very sorry already. "Not you, Christopher Robin," said Eeyore. "You're different. But what it comes down to is this. I've built myself a house." "Have you really?" said Christopher Robin. "How exciting!" "The really exciting part," said Eeyore in his most melancholy voice, "is when I left it there this morning it was there, and when I came back it wasn't. Not at all. Very natural, and after all it was only Eeyore's house, but still I just wondered." Christopher Robin didn't stop to wonder. He was already putting on his waterproof hat, his waterproof boots, and his waterproof mackintosh as fast as he could. "We'll go and look for it at once," said Christopher Robin. "Sometimes," said Eeyore, "when people are quite finished taking someone's house, there are 1 or 2 things they don't want and are rather glad for the person to take back. So I thought if we just—" "Come on," said Christopher Robin, and off they hurried. In no time at all they were standing in Eeyore's little field where his house wasn't any longer. "There," said Eeyore. "Not a stick of it left. But I've still got all this snow to do what I like with. One mustn't complain." "Do you hear that?" said Christopher Robin. "What is it? Somebody laughing?" "Listen," said Christopher Robin. They both listened, and they could hear a deep, gruff voice singing in a sing-songy kind of way that the more it snowed, the more it went on snowing, and a small high voice tiddly-pomming in between. "It's Pooh," said Christopher Robin excitedly. "Possibly," said Eeyore. "And Piglet," said Christopher Robin. "Probably," said Eeyore. "What we need is a trained bloodhound." The words of the song changed slightly. "We've finished our house," sang the gruff voice. "Tiddly-pum," sang the squeaky voice. "It's a beautiful house. Tiddly-pum, I wish it were mine." "Tiddly-pooh," shouted Christopher Robin. "It's Christopher Robin," said Pooh. "He's over there where we found all those sticks," said Piglet. And they got off the gate to go and greet them, Pooh making welcoming noises all the way. "Hello, Eeyore," said Pooh after he'd finished hugging Christopher Robin. "Same to you, Pooh Bear, and twice on Thursdays," said Eeyore. But before Pooh could say, "Why Thursdays?" Christopher Robin had begun explaining the sad story of Eeyore's house. And as they both listened, their eyes seemed to get bigger and bigger. "Where did you say it was?" said Pooh Bear. "Just here." "Made of sticks?" said Pooh. "Yes." "Oh," said Piglet. "What was that?" said Eeyore. "I just said, 'Oh,'" said Piglet, feeling rather nervous at this point, and so to make himself feel better he hummed tiddly-pom once or twice in a "what shall we do now" kind of way. "Are you sure it was a house?" said Pooh. "I mean, are you sure the house was here?" "Yes," said Eeyore. No brains at all, some of them, as he muttered to himself. "What's the matter?" said Christopher Robin. "Well," said Pooh, "the fact is," said Pooh. "Well, you see," said Pooh, "it's like this," said Pooh. Something seemed to tell Pooh that he wasn't explaining something very well, so he nudged Piglet. "It's like this," said Piglet, and after some thought added, "only warmer." "What's warmer?" said Christopher Robin. "The other side of the woods where Eeyore's house is." My house was here," said Eeyore. "No," said Piglet, "on the other side of the wood." "Because of being warmer," said Pooh. "But I ought to know," said Eeyore. "Come and look," said Piglet. And off they went around to the other side of the pine wood. And there was Eeyore's house, looking as comfortable as anything. "There, you see," said Piglet. "Inside as well as outside," said Pooh. Eeyore went inside and went out again. "It's a remarkable thing," said Eeyore. "This is my house, and I built my house where I said I did. So the wind must have blown it, and the wind blew it right up and over the wood, and here it is, as good as anything. In fact, better in places." "Much better," said Pooh proudly. "There, do you see, Pooh? Do you see, Piglet? This goes to show what can be done by taking a little trouble. Brains first, and then hard work. Look at it," said Eeyore proudly. "That's the way to build a house." And so they left him in it, and Christopher Robin went to go and have lunch with his friends Pooh and Piglet. And on the way there they told him of the awful mistake they had made. And when they had all finished laughing, they sung the outdoor hum for snowy weather all of the rest of the way home. And Piglet, who was still not quite sure of his voice, doing the tiddly-poms. And I know it seems easy," he said, "but it isn't everyone who can do it."